ripple effects, and that is the Cardinals. The reporting from Schefter yesterday, they will release Kyler Murray at the start of the new league year next Wednesday. He's guaranteed almost $37 million from the Cardinals next season, so he's free to sign with any other team, and he's got a bunch of money in his pocket, so the money might not be the deciding factor on where he chooses to go. Now, I want to show you two tweets that came out shortly after this news. Josh Windhorst covers the Cardinals. He tweeted, "Getting released was Murray's preferred outcome. He can control where he goes, and a source tells me Murray has two preferred destinations." Shortly after that, Vikings reporter Kevin Seifert tweeted, "Kyler Murray is at or near the top of the Vikings wish list this offseason. This news brings him one step closer to the open market." Lewis, does Kyler Murray to the Vikings make sense to you?
You know what? Well, it makes sense if you're closing the door on J.J. McCarthy.
Closing the door.
Absolutely.
If they sign Kyler Murray, you're telling me that means they've given up on J.J.
Kyler Murray is not a bridge quarterback. That's not why you're signing him. You're not signing him to mentor a young quarterback that you already have in your quarterback room. You're not signing him because he's plus 30 years old and or you feel as though he's near the end of his career. Kyler Murray has said himself, and I think we can all objectively say this is a guy who still has a ton of runway left in his career, provided he can stay healthy. So that's number two. Number three, I just don't think that Kyler's makeup is one where he's a good backup. He's not a kind of guy who could play for a little while, then you take him off the field and you have a young quarterback on your football team who winds up assuming the reins and then he sits back and just kind of says, I'm fine with that role. That's not him. That's not him at all. So for him to go to Minnesota, what Kevin O'Connell is telling you is that J.J. McCarthy's days really in Minnesota to me are over.
Again, Kevin Seifert, our Vikings reporter. Kyler Murray is at or near the top of the Vikings quarterback wish list this offseason. I will admit, this surprises me. It's not surprising to the extent that you and other reporters have been telling me for 2 weeks it was going to happen, but here it is actually in our face, because I agree with you. Yep. You don't bring in Kyler Murray. There are a lot of people that you might bring in to push J.J. McCarthy, to get J.J. McCarthy's attention. Kyler Murray doesn't do that. You're bringing in Kyler Murray because you want your quarterback to be Kyler Murray.
What, coming out of the combine, in talks that I've had all last season and through Indy last week, I actually was surprised by the feedback about McCarthy from the standpoint of, like, he's just got to grow up. You're like, he's got to grow up. He's got to, like, football's got to be it. Like, he's got to focus. And so I'm not surprised that Kyler Murray would be even an option for this team that they go after, because this is a team that has a good defense, has good coaching, has the players. But I think, honestly, J.J. McCarthy, if Kyler Murray walks in the door, that's your moment to say, all right, like, time's up. Like, I had this opportunity, and I've blown it to this point. But like you said, Lewis, Kyler has to stay healthy. Yeah. This doesn't have to be the end of J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota.
Indeed, if indeed it happens. Nick, let me get a thought from you here. Kyler Murray, because there's such mixed opinion on him. There are two obvious things that can be said about Kyler Murray, and they are both true. One, he's got enormous talent. There's no question about his talent, his explosiveness, and the moments of brilliance that we have seen. We showed some of them yesterday with Schrager. He did these 5 plays. What is also inarguably true is there are questions about his leadership. There are questions about his demeanor. There are questions about his ability to stay healthy. What are your thoughts on this, Dominique?
Yeah, I think to your point that there's rarely a quarterback that's this talented and also has at least some proof of concept that's available at this point, and available for a low price of league minimum, because his contract is going to be covered mostly by the Cardinals. Like, I think this is a risk that's worth taking. For all the criticism that you may have of Kyler Murray, you cannot criticize his ability. And even though he's never really put together an entire season, he's put together long enough stretches for you to be excited. I think the way that he plays could be concerning for some offenses, especially the Vikings, that feels like it's much more of a see and read and make decisions and less more improv. I'd like to see him more on somewhere like the Colts, but I think it's really exciting. If you are a team that doesn't have a quarterback, it doesn't hurt you to give Kyler Murray $1 million to come and see if he can be that version of a quarterback for an entire season in a new system with some more maturity. Because I think some of the things that we're so critical about for Kyler Murray, I think those things can change with age and with failure at the Cardinals, frankly.
That's certainly possible. That would be the best case scenario, I think, for whatever team winds up acquiring him. Lewis, if we were to make a list of teams that are quarterback desperate, the Vikings wouldn't be on them. They just drafted a quarterback high recently. There are the Jets. There are the Steelers.
Yeah.
There are others, maybe the Dolphins, if and when they release Tua.
Yeah.
Do you expect some of those teams? We heard the tweet that said that he's got a list of 2 teams that particularly interest him. We don't know if Minnesota is one of those teams. Do you expect the quarterback needy teams to be coming to him with big contract offers, something much more substantial?
Absolutely. I absolutely do. Because of all the reasons that we just laid out. Because of the fact that he still is only 28 years old. He still is, when healthy, and I understand. But look, teams, because of the quarterback position is always a supply-demand driven market. The supply never really meets the demand anyway. You know that there are going to be teams that are going to extend themselves to try and get this young man if the need is that desperate. It is desperate in New York. It is desperate, quite honestly, I believe still in Pittsburgh, regardless of what Aaron Rodgers decides to do. They need to find a longer-term option, not a year-to-year option in Pittsburgh, and Kyler can give you that. So, yeah, I do think that those teams will still be in the market right here. Minnesota's just interesting to me. So I'm just telling you, Kyler's looking for a home, not a place to just stop over for a year or two. And you have to know that going in, and you're going to negotiate and talk to him accordingly. And for JJ, that to me dispels the end to me. It just spells the end if he goes there.
If that winds up happening, should we expect this to happen fast? League year starts. Legal tampering, which once again, I throw this out every single season, my pet peeve. There's no such thing as legal tampering. If it's legal, it's not tampering. So for all I'm going to call it what it is. Free agency starts Monday. Should we expect news on Kyler Murray quick?
I would think so, especially if you're a team like the Jets. The Jets, the first domino has to be quarterback. Otherwise, you have no idea what the rest of your draft and free agency plans look like. So I would think quarterback is the main piece for a lot of these teams.
I was living in a world yesterday where all of a sudden I'm inundated with people telling me the Jets are going to trade all 5 of their first-round picks to move up and get Fernando Mendoza. That's not a world I want to live in. Coming up, a star pass rusher, that and more as we get up with you starting right now. Here we go. I haven't seen Kmart in what feels like a half a lifetime. Kimberly Martin's ready to roll. Lewis is in here and ready to roll. We'll have Dominique Foxworth with us. Full hoops with Shanae and McMahon on the way. Jam-packed get up. Let's start by running the hurry up following a very significant news day around the NFL yesterday. Kmart had started with the Colts placing the transition tag on Daniel Jones. That's a $37.8 million one-year tender that will allow the team to match any offer sheet that Jones might sign with any other team. This is a player who, of course, tore his Achilles in early December. What impact did that have, Kmart, on the way this all played out?
I mean, from a leverage standpoint, this is a guy who's coming off an injury. He's not going to be ready for the start of the season. And so you're looking at the Colts who, before the injury, Daniel Jones was balling. And now a lot of teams, if he had hit free agency, or the Colts would have said, this is our guy for sure. Now they're going to run the risk. They put the transition tag on him and hope that he comes back. But this is a team that had really high hopes with this guy.
What is your sense here, Lewis, of the possibility? Again, the transition tag, right, is different from the franchise tag. It leaves the door open if there's another team out there that's really interested. Should we expect another team out there to come make a play for him?
I think what the Colts are telling you is that they don't necessarily expect the market to be that strong.
Right.
Because they're saying, hey, look, you know what? If you can go out and set the market a little bit higher than maybe what we anticipate it being, we hold the right of first refusal. Let's go ahead and match that offer. But we're going to save some money here by not putting the franchise tag on you. We're going to bet on maybe the fact that you're probably not going to be ready. The market isn't going to be that strong. We're going to get you at a price that maybe we like. They're kind of setting the floor right now as far as where they probably view him from a long-term contract standpoint. They don't view him as a $48, $49, $50 million a year quarterback. That's clear. Otherwise, you would have put the franchise tag on it. Or you would have been trying. I mean, you're still trying to negotiate a long-term deal anyway.
What if another team came in and said, we're going to pay him a ton of money?
We're going to pay this guy like he's our core. Because candidly, he's better. He proved himself last year in the 10 or 12, whatever it is, games that he played. He proved himself better than at least a third, if not more, of the starting quarterbacks in the league.
Then Chris Ballard has a decision to make, whether or not he wants to go ahead and match that. I mean, right now, though, they're obviously hedging their bets. Clearly.
Nate, this is a tough business, man. There he is out there. First of all, he plays the first half of the season like he's the MVP of the league. Then he's got a broken bone in his leg. He's out there playing on it, trying to tough it out for his team, winds up tearing his Achilles, and now they say, well, we can save $8 million by putting the transition tag rather than the franchise tag on you, so that's what we're going to do. I get it. That's the business we have chosen, but, man, that's a rough business.
Yeah, but I mean, it happens time and time again, and I think it's always should be a message to players, but the message doesn't get through because we are the way that we are. You want to be out there for your teammates. You're going to play through this stuff and never quite get rewarded exactly the way you deserve. But I also think that it's kind of a risky roster management move. You have a quarterback that you believe is going to be your quarterback for the future. Right now, in a situation where you can negotiate with him, then you put him on a tag, which puts yourself in a position where you're rooting for him to do well, but not that well. Because if he just balls out for the entire season next year, then you are stuck in a position of paying Daniel Jones, who you don't believe to be a top of the league quarterback money. So it's always weird when you put a franchise tag. I remember with Dak Prescott, they kept doing it. And we're like, eventually you're just going to have to pay the guy. I understand that this isn't Dak Prescott, but it doesn't matter. If he plays really well next year, you have no leverage. You're going to have to pay him as much as he asked for, whereas right now, you could probably get away with 25, 30, 35 a year.
Yeah, he's going to be the next Kirk Cousins. He's going to be the next guy we look up one day and we're like, you realize he's made more money in the last 6 years than any other quarterback in the NFL? And no one will have seen it coming. We move on as we run through the moves of yesterday. The Jets put the franchise tag on running back Breece Hall. Lewis, give me a quick thought on this. There's not really a whole lot to be said about it. He's probably the best or second best player on what was a very bad team last year. Quick thought.
Yeah, and he's a very good running back. He's one of the best dual threat running backs in the league, Greeny, as far as when you're looking at average per carry, his rushing yardage total, and in particular his receiving